Hi, I'm Philip DiGirolamo, and I'm connected to the DiGirolamo family through my dad, Andrew DiGirolamo. This is a photo of him when he was a young man, when he was an actor in New York back in the 1940s.
Hi, I'm Bernie Aliotti DiGirolamo. I'm the eldest daughter of Angelo and Adrian. One of my fondest memories, actually there are so many, it's hard to say. And for me, it's just in general, it's the caring, the community, the sharing of love and fellowship.
What is your name? My name is Anita Girolamo Francisco. I have a twin sister named Emilia Elizabeth Rogers. We are the babies of the family, and my mother was very fortunate that she had twins.
Mom, what's your name?
Diane.
And how are you related to the DiGirolamos?
I'm married to George.
Can you show us the picture of George? When were you married? 1950.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been in the DiGirolamo family for 76 years.
Right.
Most of your life.
Hi, my name is Rocky, and I'm a part of the DiGirolamo family through my great-grandfather, George.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Cadilla Pritchett, and I'm Jenny DiGirolamo's daughter. I'm the eldest of 5, and I'm here to talk about what it was like to be a DiGirolamo. Family traditions.
Hi, I'm Marie DiGirolamo. People know me as Sissy. I'm here interviewing my father, who is going to be talking about his grandfather, Johnny DiGirolamo. He was in Boston for years, and they used to call him Johnny Boston.
Hi, my name is Filippo Girolamo, after my grandfather, Filippo, named me. My father and my mother, before I was born, they took the picture in Pebble Beach by the famous tree. Johnny.
Hi, my name is Gigi Raffanti, and I am Josephine Raffanti's oldest daughter. This is a picture of Josephine and Eugene on their wedding day in 1951.
Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm related to the DiGirolamo family through Katie DiGirolamo. She was the oldest and first child of my grandparents, Filippo and Rosina DiGirolamo. My grandparents, DiGirolamo, had 56 grandchildren, and I was the oldest of 54 first cousins.
Hi, my name is Ann Howell. I am Mary DiGirolamo's daughter, and this is a picture of my mom.
Hi, my name is Kirsten, and I'm connected to the DiGirolamo family through my grandma, Amelia.
We're Toto's son, my brother John, and myself, Tony.
Hi, my name is Philip Charles Antonio DiGirolamo. I am the son of Antonio John DiGirolamo, as you can see in this picture. To his left is my mother, Mary Finch. To his right is his gamati, or they are responsible for my birth, my mom and my dad. I was born in 1952. I'm 73 years old. My mother, Mary Finch, died when I was 2 years old of cancer. So my grandmother and my grandfather and gamati and my great-grandmother, Maria Pavia, raised me at 372 Monroe Street in Monterey, California.
Hi, I'm Leela. I'm a cousin. Katie was my grandmother and the oldest child. I'm the oldest second cousin, and some older than some of the first cousins. We won't go there.
You and Daddy wanted to get married. You ran off to San Jose to Aunt Jenny's house, and that's where you hid while your family and big brother were looking for you.
Right.
After you got married, you stayed a month because then you were 18,
right.
And they couldn't do anything more about it. After you were 18, what did you do? Where did you first live?
We were with Aunt Jenny for a month.
I know, but after Aunt Jenny, then what?
We found a house in Monterey, up on the hill by the Presidio.
Franklin Street? Spaghetti Hill?
What do you remember about first meeting Dad's family? Going to the house and seeing everybody.
I went to the wharf and he wasn't there, but they said he was home. And I said, I'll come back later on this afternoon.
No, I'll take you up to the... No, I don't want to go. Yes, you're going to the house.
Who was saying this?
So then I went up there, and I met his mother and the grandmother and Gomada. And then he was in the back house, and he didn't even know I was in the main house. And so, because he just got up, and he came in there, and he goes, "You're here?"
So you were a girlfriend. He met on the wharf, and next thing you know, you're in his mother's house. And which uncle took you to the house?
I think it was...
Dodo.
He was driving. He said, "I got to drive home, so I'll drive you up."
Great. So that's wonderful. And what did you think about, did everybody speak Italian or?
Yeah. But I mean, it was hello, how are, and hugs, and like that.
Oh, great. And
none of them could speak too much.
Yeah. How about with your Portuguese? Could you understand a little of the Italian?
I could, not too much. At the end, I could understand some of them.
Yeah. Here's some questions for you. What do you remember most about Papa Filippo?
Grandpa did not speak English. He had very little English, and so it was tough to communicate with him. So it was always a little frustrating to be around him, and it was a little scary. As a child, my grandpa was kind of a scary guy. But once I got to know him a little bit better after a while, we had a nice little relationship, but he was always in charge. He was the head of the household, for sure.
I remember most that he was a very sweet dad. He never scolded us, he never got mad, and he was very kind. He had that sense that he was a father, so he was a breadwinner, and my mother had to really do the discipline for the children.
And what were your other impressions of Papa?
He got up in the morning and he slept in the back room, except when I came home to her house. But I had to sleep with her, and he had to go in the back.
So you slept with your mother-in-law after you had the baby?
Every baby, yes.
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I remember Papa always sitting at the end of the table, and a lot of times he had a piece of fruit in his hand with a paring knife.
What do you remember most about Papa?
I remember him working on his fishing nets, and sometimes he would work on a little Lombardi thing in the house, and I would help him tie the catgut on. I was real little. He taught me how to make it, and he used to stand on his head all the time to entertain the kids.
He was a very happy-go-lucky guy. He loved my mother. He always flirted with her. He adored her, and he was very good to us. Never hit us. My mother did all the spanking she could do. My father never hit us, and he always sang to my mother.
We're the younger of the first cousins, so our memory of our grandparents isn't... We only had Grandpa by the time we even knew we had grandparents.
Well, since we're talking about him, what do you remember most about him from as a young child?
Big forearms, and about this tall. Fava bean tree, we used to go pick things.
And Grandpa would be mending the nets in the backyard.
And he didn't like ketchup.
The story is he threw a bottle out the window, right?
Yeah, some of the bottle of ketchup on the table, he didn't like it.
What story? Do you have one?
Man. You know what, the story that really stood out for me as a kid was our grandpa was just a short-statured man, but he had 12 kids, and he really, ruled the roost. Back in those days, the man in the house was the man of the house. And so it goes back to that ketchup story. As a kid, we always liked, somebody put a bottle of ketchup on the table. He didn't like it so much that he threw it through the window, is how we heard it.
What about Mama Rosa? What was she like in the kitchen and at home? Do you remember?
I have nothing but fond memories of my grandma. She seemed to be busy a lot in the kitchen. I remember I'd go fishing with Grandpa and come home, and often she would make him a steak, and he was the only one who got steak. I don't know what everybody else ate, but it wasn't steak. But she was sweet. She was always fussing around and sitting down now and then having coffee, and she was a wonderful woman. Again, we didn't speak the same language, but her English was a little better than Grandpa's, I have to say.
My mother was an angel. She was sweet and kind and fair, but she was strict in two things. We could not speak to boys, and definitely not to smoke.
And she made all our sauces, and then we set the tables, and we ate.
Did she teach you any recipes, or what? Have you watched her cook?
We watched her cutting up everything, but she didn't speak that much English, which she could tell us.
Yeah.
Mama Rosina was an angel in the kitchen and at home. She was always cooking, and every Sunday she cooked for all her children and her grandchildren. And my uncles had a restaurant, and she would put the water on for the pasta, and they'd call the restaurant and say, "You can come up now. The water's boiling. I'm going to put the pasta in."
What was Mama Rose like in the kitchen?
Very pleasant, but always cooking.
She was very strict with us girls, but she made the boys do everything they wanted to do. But the boys were always free to do everything. And she always had dinner for them, no matter whether they were kids or not. She always asked if they were hungry, and she would fix something for them.
No, only that they always had the aprons on there, and I picture her with an apron on and a wooden spoon in her hand, right? When I go through my memory. And
a little bristly mustache, right? Because you'd have to kiss all the ants and they'd always poke you.
That's great.
My grandmother was very loyal, but she was devoted to the family. Every time she'd wake up in the morning, she'd be dressed, she'd have her apron on. And that apron was on all day until she went to bed at night. She was amazing. An amazing cook. She would make all kinds of pasta fazool, pizzaiola, you name it, she made it. It was absolutely great. I was also raised in the restaurant business where the brothers, my dad and his brothers, all owned a restaurant called Angelo's on the wharf in Monterey. Now, that restaurant was a seafood Italian restaurant, which was very good, and a lot of people from all over the world would come to eat there. They were world famous for their cioppino.
How about what was life like for Sicilian families in Monterey?
I can't speak with specific knowledge, but I always had the feeling that there were so many Sicilians in Monterey that there was quite a community. They had Italian stores my grandmother shopped at, a lot of Italian fishermen on the wharf my grandfather would wave to and talk to. So I think there was a real full community there.
That's very cool. What do you remember about fishing in Monterey, if anything?
I remember quite a bit. I remember going with Grandpa and Uncle Toto fishing, and it was just fascinating, especially when they were doing the gill netting. I would go out early in the morning. I'd spend the night with Grandpa and Grandma, walk down in the morning before sunrise to go fishing and go out in the boat, and then they would pull the gill nets in, and it was always fascinating to see what was going to come up. You never knew. Sometimes it was a sea lion, most of the times it was halibut, but I remember one time they pulled up a sturgeon, and I'd never seen a sturgeon before. And I was shocked at how strange a fish it looked, and so lots of memories fishing with Grandpa.
I was young, but I remember going down to the wharf and seeing all the fishermen go get ready with the purse seiners, the boats, and we had a restaurant called the Gun Nut, and we would serve them their breakfast at 2 o'clock in the morning for squid. When you go for squid, you go early in the morning, and then we would be ready with the coffee and the bacon and the egg, and they would have their breakfast. I remember that.
It was mostly Dodo that was the fisherman. And we'd go out and watch. We could see his boat way out there. Yeah. And then when he'd come in, he'd show us what fish he caught. And he took it all. Sold some and took the rest up to ground.
Did they still have the King Philip when you were in the family?
They did.
What do you remember about that boat?
It was a nice big boat. And Frances lived where she was across the street from the school, tennis courts. And she could hear the whistle at the canneries. And that meant, fish is here, you gotta come in. And so she'd hear it, she'd throw on her uniform, and she'd walk all the way to the cannery down by the wharf and go to work packing fish.
My sister Mary worked in the canneries, but she's the only one that worked in the canneries. My sister Jenny worked in the Monterey studio.
Great. That's all for you. Let me ask him a quick question. What do you like about being married into this family?
There's so many of them.
What do you say?
It's a huge family. There's so many of them.
We were the majority, so we fit in. I always felt like we fit in. Now that said, I never hung around with the Sicilians when I was a kid. My dad, we didn't fish with Grandpa because we were just little kids. But fishing with Dad, and we had to get up and dressed as fast as we could because he would get up, he would wake us up, he'd go make the coffee, and when he was done drinking coffee, we were walking out the door. And when he picked up the coffee cup, he did not put it down. He could drink the hottest coffee in the world. And that was it. And so we'd get half our cup down, time to go.
We had a beautiful view in a Victorian house, a beautiful view, Monterey Bay. As I was being raised, I stuck close to my grandparents. I would be there almost every day, even after school. My grandparents were a big part of my life. My grandfather was a fisherman. He fished with nets, and he also taught me how to fish. And my dad and I, when I was in the junior high, we would go commercial fishing. My dad and I mostly pulled the nets. We heard him all of a sudden scream, "Yay!" And my dad turned around and saw him, and there was a crab latched onto his thumb with his big pinchers, his big claws, and it was bleeding. And my dad quickly ran over there and pulled the claw off of the crab, and crabs just don't let go right away. It was ease off. And he took his kerchief that he carries and he wrapped it around and he started laughing his head off. And I said, "Papa, why are you laughing?" And he said, "I'm too old to cry, so I have to laugh." So that was a story I thought I would tell you all. He was a brave, strong man, but he was shorter than me even, but he was wonderful. And then of course, one of the traditions we used to have was that we had every Sunday pasta, the Sicilian pasta. My grandmother, who was loyal to the family and very loyal to her husband, would cook every single Sunday this pasta. And anybody in the family who was around from wherever they were could come on Sunday and enjoy that wonderful feast. And we enjoyed it every Sunday.
That's amazing. How about the family restaurant? I know you worked there for a bit.
Oh,
what was
God.
that like?
I worked there for quite a few summers. That was a real family affair. All my aunts were waitresses. My cousins were cooks. I was a busboy and a dishwasher and a cook after a while. And I just remember it was a great time. I had a lot of fun. I worked hard, and then afterwards, often a bunch of us would get in a car with Rena and we just drive around town, not going anywhere, just cruising around Monterey after work. Still had a lot of energy to burn.
There were presents for everybody, bounty food, and just an abundance of love. Obviously, the restaurant that my dad started, Angelo's, was probably the second tradition and backbone of our childhood. It maintained families, it gave jobs, it provided food and love, and even more community.
The family restaurant was one of the first on the wharf. The idea came from my brother Angelo, and the brothers all became partners, and we worked there. And we were started out as pantry help, and then we became waitresses.
What do you remember about Angelo's?
We could eat any time there, but I would fold napkins if I was up there eating anything.
April and I had our rehearsal dinner there.
Right.
That was in the 1980. We all worked there.
Cousins worked at my uncle's Angelo's restaurant on Fisherman's Wharf, and the cousins during the summertime would work there so they could earn money to go to college. And they all worked there. Aunts, uncles, everyone worked in that restaurant. And me and my brother would walk to the wharf after school when we were real little because my mother was a hostess. And we would get to go to Angelo's restaurant every day after school.
Very happy. We had a lot of movie stars came there and ate. I got to see a lot of stars because I was cashier. That's where I met my husband.
You, sir. The husband, Irving, Grandpa Irving.
Yes.
They should have charged us admission to work there. We had so much fun. We played every game you could imagine in the kitchen. Baseball, soccer, football. And the best thing was when one of the new dishwashers, you'd put an egg up in the hood and you'd go throw a potato or something at it and land on his head. And how do we know? Because they did it to us.
I was raised in that restaurant, started when I was 9 years old and worked as a busboy. And then I probably performed every single job there was that you could have in a restaurant. So I had a lot of training on how to work. And most of the family worked at that restaurant.
I love it. All right. What foods or traditions do you remember the most?
Everybody knows holidays at Christmas at Grandma's, we're just eating constantly, more or less all day. Little breaks in between. The pasta was indescribable, but I remember Grandma made a chicken soup with little meatballs And those meatballs, it just melted in your mouth. They were so flavorful. Even as a kid, I thought that was my favorite, Grandma's chicken soup with meatballs.
We all remember the Sunday pasta dinners at Nana's and Papa's house. Christmas stands out to us because of everybody, those from out of town and locally would join together and celebrate that wonderful day.
The food, no matter what my mother cooked, we always had to eat macaroni first. We never called it pasta. We always said macaroni. And then, so we had that no matter what we ate. And then my mother, once a week on Saturdays, we would have meat, and we would have lamb chops. And my father, being that he was the father, he had to keep his blood strong, he got the steak. Every Sunday, my mother would cook a delicious dinner. They say we started with the macaroni and meatballs, and then she'd make a nice big tossed salad, and then she would have lamb chops or chicken as well. And then we never really had dessert, but every day. But when we did have dessert, most of the time it was the Italian cookies that they baked.
So like family day on Sunday.
And my poor mother cooked we were 12 children, so we're 12. Then we got married, we became 24. And she cooked but we did help her with the dishes.
Good. What other food traditions do you remember? Things they used to make or cook or?
The pasta, that sauce that Grandma always made. And the Italian cookies when it was closer to Christmas, other cookies.
How about cannolis? When you had cannolis sometimes?
That was more Madonna. He'd make them and bring them over.
How many would be there on a typical Sunday?
A good 20 or more. Easy. The table in the living room, that dining room, that was filled with the older people. And we were in the kitchen, but we fed the kids earlier, and Rena would take them to the movie. Poor Rena.
Poor Rena.
Take 20 kids. And one time she looked for Sally's kids. She couldn't find them in the theater at all. So she came home, she said, Sally, I can't find your kids. And she said, I told them to see it twice. The meal together, and usually it was, if it's a Sunday, it was always pasta.
And for the big holidays, we were down in the basement, and there'd be more than 20 then.
Yes, the table was the length of the whole house, and even the Catalano, the husband and wife, would be there.
Right. But they lived right around the corner. And they had 2 restaurant stoves down in the basement, right?
2
stoves.
There was
at least one
old white one and a one stove.
My favorite thing about being a part of the family is when we all sit down together at a table and eat. One family gathering that stands out to me is when we all went to Nana's house and had shrimp.
Christmas at Grandma's house was absolutely a chaotic mess. We loved every single minute of it. Grandma was always at the stove stirring a pot of sauce. The aunts were running around like chickens with their head cut off, getting dinner ready, helping. We were running around. I think we were setting the table. Either that or Rena, Rose, and I were trying to corral the little ones, getting them out of everyone's hair. They'd feed us pasta first so they could sit down and have all the good food. And then they'd give us money and send us all to the movies to get us out of their hair. It was great fun. And then Rose and Rena and I would have to wash all the dishes. And we'd wash dishes till there was no more hot water, and then we'd have to wait and finish it off. One of my fondest memories of Grandpa was being very young. I think I was 4, sitting in front of him at the dining room table, which was built into the basement. Big, long table, the full length of the basement. And him feeding me clams. To this day, I still eat clams. But it was a special moment, sitting there eating clams with him.
Okay, I had the best time of my life during the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, and we gathered every day. It's from the morning to the night, playing cards, telling jokes, and we had immense memories of that there. We did a lot of cooking. My grandmother and some of the older cousins and the brothers and sisters. The restaurant, Angelo's, donated all the food. They ran up every day and got food for our parties. Yeah, it was an open house. People related to our family and friends would come in, and the pot would cook all day long, from morning to night. And we had Christmas Eve was magnificent. And we had Santa Claus. Somebody dressed it up as Santa Claus. And the presents were taller than the trees. Yeah, we had a great time. That was good time. All the way to New Year's. And then we did Mass at midnight. Mass at midnight. Some of us stayed home and some went to Mass. It was midnight Mass.
Mostly, I remember arriving at Grandma and Papa's house, and I don't remember food because there was such a busyness in the kitchen. People were cooking, somebody was at the pot stirring, somebody was doing something in the sink. But inevitably, every time I went, it seemed there was a live octopus swimming in the sink. The other thing that really stands out to me is there was a cooler door which were open shelves, and that was where they would keep snails on cornmeal, live snails, garden snails, so that they can have snails in however they prepared them. I never tasted them, so I don't know.
And I was little then. I remember the most pasta, a lot of vegetables that she would make, escarola, and she also made pasta lenticchia, and there was so many, and fish soup. I remember the fish gyoza. I loved that. She made a lot of Italian dishes. The Sundays at my grandma's house, and Christmas. We all gathered at her house on Christmas. I'm going to cry. I'm going to tear up here just remembering them. And every Sunday, everybody gathered. Her sons, her daughters, her son-in-laws, and all their children would gather at her house on Sunday. She'd start cooking the sauce early in the morning while everybody was at Mass. And when they got out of Mass, all the pasta was ready.
What family tradition should never be forgotten?
Sunday gatherings in the house.
What story should future generations always remember?
Christmases, Santa Claus for the kids, and lots of presents.
What family tradition do you love the most?
At Easter time, my mother would make Easter cookies, and at Christmas, we would make Christmas cookies, and anything in between. Sunday sauce, Christmas Eve, all of those wonderful times.
Do you have any fond memories of?
Yes, it was always a happy time. Sunday, everybody got there at Mama's house, and we had this big Sunday dinners, and it was always a happy time.
I think what I remember as a kid was on Sundays going over there and have the Sunday pasta, and down in the garage was a table for a little kid like me. Seemed like it would seat 50 people. I don't know how many it sat, but it was a lot of people. And we had such a good old time there. Kids, you know, it was great because we were.
Did they have a stove
We
down
were
there?
seen but never heard. So we didn't have to talk to any of them. We just
like
had
the
fun.
pasta on
The Sunday
fish on Friday.
Very traditional. Fish on Friday, pasta on Sunday.
My mother didn't speak Italian, so my dad didn't speak Italian. I didn't even realize my dad knew how to speak Italian until relatives came from Italy and he would talk. I think he did talk with his parents, but I didn't realize how well he spoke it till later on.
That's really cool. What do you think made our family strong?
There were a lot of us. There were 52 grandchildren in the family, so just the
Strength in
sheer number
numbers.
was just a force to be reckoned with. And I think there were strong family ties between the siblings, and that just radiated down to their children, to my cousins. I always felt very proud to be part of the DiGi family, the big clan that we were.
That carries on, I'd say. What family tradition do you think should never be forgotten?
It was about family. There were some hard times in the family, and they always stuck together, even when they had conflicts.
Through that, we all developed a remarkable sense of work ethic and that all people are created equal. And that took me beyond just my childhood, young adulthood, but into my professional life, and as well, my cousins, who are my best friends. They know who you are. That's the glue that keeps us all together. And that glue, obviously, was Mama and Papa, and then sent forth through our parents because of tradition and love that we have for each other.
My parents made us strong. They made us able to cope with things. The life was simple and easy in those days. It wasn't hard to be strong. We were all still at home and enjoying each other's family. We always looked forward. And Christmas always, so the holidays were fun. We were always together. We were a very close-knit family. I believe this, but it is true. Sisters and my brothers, we never fought. We talked loud and we were screaming and being mad, but we were not. When you're mad, you do not speak.
I like that.
You cannot. So if no one is speaking, beware. They're mad.
You think it was a strong, close family?
I think it was.
What made it so?
They were all there to eat on Sunday.
On those get-togethers for meals?
It was usually Aunt Lily and me. Millie and Nita did nothing.
They didn't help out?
Not really. Not that much. Grandma made all the sauces.
Frances.
Frances
she made pies.
Well, she made come with 7 pies or so.
And Adrian?
She helped with Adrian, me, or somebody else would help with the dishes, doing all the dishes and putting them away.
How about Aunt Sally?
She helped a little bit, yeah, but not.
And Jenny, she was in San Jose a lot. And
Yeah, but when she came, Jenny was there, lived there for the whole weekend. So she was always helping them out, whatever she wanted.
And Josephine, what do you remember about Aunt Josephine?
She was down south, mostly.
Yeah.
Or where else?
And Katie was down south a lot.
Yeah. But when they came, they'd help and do whatever they had.
So what was it like to have 12 sister-in-laws and 12 brother-in-laws? What was that like?
They were all friendly, and many of the times we're all eating together. And then the ones from down south, we didn't see that often. So it was good that we were all together when they came up.
And you all were mothers, you all raised children at the same time.
Yes. The kids all played together in the driveway or in front of the house.
The person in this family who makes me laugh the most is me. What makes our family special is that we've survived from Sicily all the way to America.
Being together, the tradition, setting the time aside to be with one another. I think that was the most important thing because we all learned to love each other. We grew up, we all felt like we had a place to go. We loved all our aunts and uncles. It was just a warm place to be, a great childhood. We all had a fabulous childhood. And I think the love, that's the biggest part of being in that family, was the love we all felt for each other.
The connection. They all loved each other. They were always connected to each other. It was that Italian tradition where Christmas time, and I say every Sunday, that's what made it strong. And the traditions that they taught us.
What made our family strong? Papa. What is your favorite part about being part of the DiGi family?
It was growing up all together. There were always get-togethers, gatherings, picnics, weddings. It was all so much fun in the day.
What family gathering or memories stand out the most to you?
that would be wedding. They were always a joyous occasion, and it was a chance for all of us cousins to get together.
What makes our family special?
It's all the great loving, all the connection that we all share.
I don't know. I remember the most of us always having a lot of fun. My brothers were always good to us girls, very good to us. And no one ever spoke bad about us, because if they did, they'd have to deal with my brothers. Yes, I remember my brother Angelo. We always could tell him everything. If anything bothered us, we always could go to him and tell him everything. And he always would listen to us, and he fixed everything up very good for us girls. He made everything for, you talk to the boys, and so you upset the girls very much. So he was very good, my brother Angelo.
That's nice.
My brother Johnny was very strict to us girls. One thing we could never do was smoke a cigarette. That was very naughty. No, I don't know anything about fishing.
That was for your brothers, huh?
She just ate it.
So you just ate it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of family stuff.
A lot of good food.
When we were kids, because we come from such a big, you just assume everybody has a big family. We didn't need friends. We had so many family members. We didn't need to go looking for things to do.
That's great.
And what we had, we were the last generation that the family, was there. The sad thing about America, you grow up and you leave the community. You don't live and die in the same little village like you would in the old world, right? In America, we're so spread out. My kids don't have a handful of their cousins because we're all so spread out. So we had the last of the best, really close-knit family. I'm kind of sad that my kids don't have that. But what made our family strong is they went through a depression. These people are tough. 12 kids, 6 girls in one bedroom. According to that, you grow up tough. Could you imagine one bathroom and 12 kids?
But Dad didn't have to because he got to live with Kakina.
Tina was our neighbor.
That's right. She was nice too. I remember her too.
And then there was Momina across the street. Momina.
I think from my perspective, being one of the cousins was the gathering. They should always hear about the long table in the basement at Grandma's house that we all sat at. And the aunts and my grandparents, mother would prepare food and feed us, and it was just joy. I always felt such joy going to my grandmother's house because I knew I was going to see my cousins, and it was going to be insane and wonderful, and we were going to all have a good time. And there were magical times when we all got together.
My mother really did not have a desire to go back to Italy, but she really did so want to go back to Boston to see her sister and to read all the friends and all the places that she went. My mother loved opera, so every Saturday she did have us sit around the radio and listen to the opera. At the time it was on for the whole hour, so I think that's why we all loved classical music. She introduced us to it that way.
Who did you say was a singer in your family?
And they were on that middle bar that's in front of Grandma's house. And great grandma would be in the little sunroom, and she was going, oh, she'd say in Italian, because they'd go round and around on the bar. Below was the side one.
That's great. Was there any music in the house? Any singing or instruments?
Sometimes the Catalano, he would sing. No, none of the DiGi could sing.
I hope that future generations of our family remember our past.
A funny story about fishing, and Gigi might remember this, is when Grandpa had an octopus in a great big 20-quart saucepan in the pantry at Grandma's by the sink. Gigi, Rose, and I decided to see if it was alive. And I got a spoon because Rose and Gigi were babies. They were afraid to do it. I put a spoon by its eyeball and it rolled around. And we went screaming out of the pantry because we thought the tentacle was going to come out and grab us. It was a terrifying moment. But I think what I liked the best about Grandma was whenever we went to go help her do dishes, she would put an apron on us. And she was a big woman. And she'd wrap that apron around me 3 times and tie it. But apron, because it reminds me of being with Grandma and getting a hug. And I still wear an apron to this day. Whether I'm cleaning or cooking, I still wear that silly apron. And great grandma, another memory that we all have, is her taking us into her bedroom and going, "Don't tell anyone else," and taking out the Hershey's chocolate bar and taking off a square and giving it to him. But don't tell the others. It's just for you. And how she had the ability to make all of us feel so special in the sea of children that were in that room, to make each one of us feel so special. And we laughed as we got older, saying, no, I was the special one. So we all fessed up. We all got a piece of the chocolate bar.
And also I remember great grandma Mary always sitting in her rock chair, I believe, and she always had candy in her apron pocket for all the little kids.
What stories that we heard? Most of the stories I heard were in Italian. And my great grandma sat in this little room in the front of the house, and we called it the piano room because there was a piano in there. And my great grandma would make me come in there and sit while she read the Italian newspaper to me. But there was all kinds of stories. And here was a great story. On Sunday when we all gathered, all the daughter-in-laws and the daughters that had new babies, they laid all the babies on the bed. Sometimes there were 5 or 6 little babies on the bed sleeping because everybody was always pregnant at the same time.
Who in the family makes you laugh the most?
That'd be my niece, Mary.
That's me.
She's hilarious.
So the story I like is about my dad. He's on the boat in the Navy, and he's used to eating really good food, and they're getting SOS every day, right? And there's one table, all these people, and they're all eating steaks every night. And he says, why are we eating this and those guys are eating the steaks? So those guys are on the boxing team. If I can eat steaks every night, I'll be on the boxing team. So that's why he joined the boxing team and never lost a fight. And since he was undefeated, there's a big stigma, you're undefeated and maybe nobody could beat you, right? So the guy a weight above him didn't like that. He got more attention because that was undefeated. So when he won his Golden Glove thing, a guy challenged him for the belt for the higher weight. And so then Dad fought the higher weight and beat him too. So he was undefeated and had 2 belts.
And as we got older, our grandparents did eventually pass away, and we were very heartbroken, but we loved them very much. So our DiGirolamo tradition was strong because of our grandparents. They were the foundation for our family.
I just wanted to share a memory of the house on Monroe Street. I grew up in Southern California, but we came often. And every time we were at Mama and Papa's, there were so many cousins. We used to play in the front yard. Great grandma used to sit in her sunroom watching us. My cousins were always loving and friendly and always welcomed us when we would come up to visit. Here's a quick memory. If any remembers that house, you remember how big the bathroom was. I got to shave my legs for the first time in that bathroom with Rosa Andrea and my sister Kathy. They supervised.
No, I'll just say this, that I still have close and warm relationship with many of my cousins. Part of being such a large family, it's hard to be in touch with everybody all the time.
Awesome. We have a lot to look forward to then at the reunion when we see all your cousins.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And raising my 2 boys, Joseph and Angelo, and I'm blessed with 3 wonderful grandchildren, Dominic, Zap, and Gianna. And when we get together, it's wonderful. The memories are precious and sustain me through all the ups and downs and the busy life that we have. I'm so excited to see you all in just a few days. I know we have a lot of hugging and kissing and good times to share. My family will be there, and I can't wait for you to meet them all because there are so many of you that I haven't ever met. So wishing you all good health, a blessed life, and see you soon. Bye.
Sometimes I wish I could start all over again.
Oh, that's a good one.
Not from day one, but from my 20s maybe.
So that you're going to go to the reunion next week, and you may be the oldest one there.
I think I am.
You're the matriarch now.
So a lot of the older ones are left.
But then Adrian should be there, and Millie and Nita said they are the last of the DiGirolamos, so they'll be there.
How old are you, Diane?
How old am I? 100, or almost 100.
How old is she then?
1931.
1931, so you must be 95? 95.
That's all?
No, I can't add anything else because I'm getting emotional. I'm getting so emotional. And I miss all my aunts and uncles that have passed on before me. I'm 88 now, so Won't be long. You're welcome, sweetheart.
I just loved being part of the DiGi family.
Wonderful. Thank you both for letting me interview you. We'll see you at the reunion.
We used to have so much fun. That's my video. Love you all. Bye.